All right, so I just got in this request for some brackets for some surfboards to mount to walls for Margaritaville. Um, and they need them basically by tomorrow, of course. So I figured I would just, why not just, it's not going to take that long, kind of figure out how to show you how I do it. And we can figure it out together, how we're going to build these. So supposedly the surfboard has a spar in the back of it that's wood, and they want a piece that attaches to the surfboard and another piece attaches to the wall. So they kind of were spitballing with this idea. So we have 2.5 wide here. Um, they've got 1.5 deep, and they thought maybe, they could have this sit inside there, and then this will kind of keep it from rocking. And it's all kind of a good idea, but the actual construction of something like this to hold something up that weighs, what did they say? 20 to 30 pounds just by this little tiny thing, kind of magic system there that kind of doesn't quite exactly work, but they want to keep this stationary, so I understand. So I had kind of a quick idea, kind of came to me, so I'll do is just hit my Margaritaville, and we'll just call this surfboard brackets. And we'll save it. There you go. So that just dumps it into my homework folder, so automatically saves it without having to do all the nonsense. All right, so first we're going to do is let's create a rectangle here. Since it's 24 inches max, let's just go ahead and use that. And they want 1.5 inch maximum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my left right here. I got it set for 090. And what that's going to do is give me a bracket that's already set like that. So that gives me a 090 on one side and 090 on the other. And it's all to size, and it's already converted to curves and everything. So what I do is I get rid of that. So now I have this piece of angle here. And then what I can do is use my extruder. And I believe they said the wall bracket would like to be 2.5. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take everything we can. So I'll go over here and go 2.5. And over here I can just go ahead and hit that, and that gives me 1.5 by 1.5. And then that gives me my profile extrusion. I'm going to hit this button here, that turns to 270. So that way we're good to go. And then what I like to do is color code it, so that way later I can tell which one's which. So I'm going to make these blue. So the wall bracket, which I'm going to go that way, is blue. So I like that. And then what I'm thinking is this will be completely enclosed, so it'll look nice. So if you kind of walk by and look to the side, this will be closed up. And then we can hide everything we're doing on the inside. And it's going to really keep it stationary, like hardcore stationary. So off to a good start. And so what we're going to do now is figure out, they kind of have this, I like the idea of that. So I'm going to duplicate it the way we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to, rub it down, and I'm just going to slide it down a little bit. And then we're going to use rivets to hold this in. And then I'm going to create another one where I flip it and bring it up a little bit and put rivets. That way there's room for this to clear. And then that will give a landing platform for this guy to come in. And I'm going to go ahead and make this one sort of go the opposite direction, and it'll be a condensed version of this that, that'll come down this way. And then that'll give a platform for this to rest on. But I'm going to be able to do it all in our 090 foldy method with scribe bends and everything, and it's going to be real theoretically pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to want to do now is just make our little landing platforms. So I can go, we'll just go 1.5 inches, and we're just going to make them 1 inch tall. And I'm going to go top bottom on that. I'll put extruder over there. And I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to make this one purple. I like purple for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and line that up. And I think we're going to go, let's go, I got my nudge set to 1 inch. So I go 1, 2. And then let's go, I'm going to group this. And I'm going to have that hit the bottom. And then I'm going to go 1, 2. Is there a need to go 1, 2 from the bottom? I don't believe so. I can go 1 from the bottom because it's going to be like this. Our mounting system is going to come in like that. So this is 1.5 inches. Now what I want to do is shrink this to 1. So let's see, what do I want to do? I want to go ahead and shrink it by 1/2. So what I did is I have my shrink down here. So I shrunk both sides by 1/4, which brings it to 1 by 1. So we're good to go. And then I'm going to go ahead and just take this guy and I'm just going to bonk him up against that, like that. And that's there is no setting in Corel that lets you go edge to edge. It only goes left to right or whatever. So I created that. So that just lets me align things directly to the right side of something. Okay, so you know what? I'm thinking, yeah, this guy can be actually, we'll just go ahead and undo. And we can go ahead and just shrink this guy by 0.1. And that gives me clearance. I like to have a 0.1 clearance when I'm riveting everything together when we're doing this foldy stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to the bottom, because this can be to the very bottom, and then the bracket for the surfboard will start here and go up. So it's okay to bury this to the bottom there. And it can be all the way across, so that's good. This one though is going to have to be cleared because the bracket's going to come in and then it's going to kind of come up here. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and set up where our rivets will go. So you come over here to your 0.17 rivet button down here, and I hit that. That's set up for 5/32 rivets, which we like to use. So I'll just go ahead and hit that up into the center here. And then since we don't really have room for kind of next to each other, see, I have my control nudge set for a 1/16. So that makes, that might work. Yeah, that's good enough. And then what I'm going to do is do the same thing down here. So we'll hit a riv nut, do a center, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. 3/8. Good job. And then what I like to do is we'll go ahead and ungroup this. Is you want to make, because every time you do your scribe lines and we bend something, the part you clamp grows by a 1/16. So you have to adjust everything by a 1/16. So I like to make an inline reference marker. So I'll just duplicate this, slide it up to halfway, and then I turn it into an inline. So I go down here to this blue button down here and I hit inline, and it will go ahead and change it to this blue line, and it renames it to inline, as you can see down here in the corner, inline on layer 1. So later on, when I hit my scraper and I go ahead and take care of all this stuff, it'll just easily peel all this out. So I'm ready to send it to the router. I don't have to go through and hand pick this every time. So same thing here, we'll just duplicate this, we'll slide it up, hit the halfway point, and then that's my inlines. All right, so that'll be that, and then we're going to want to do some sort of a riv nut deal that catches that. So what I do is I go here, and the idea is, I like this idea of the riv nut kind of stud bolt can go through there. So I come over here to my inserts maker, and I have riv nuts basically all from McMaster Carr. Is like all kind of set up and ready to go. So I'm thinking 5/16 might work. So we try a mock-up. This gives me the actual dimensions of a. It might be a little big. I'm thinking, yeah, 1/4 is probably fine. So it gives me a mock-up there. So I'll hit that. I'll slide that in. We'll go ahead and just hit that in the center so it's easy. And then we'll just do the same thing down here. All right. So that's off to a good start. So that'll be our wall bracket. And then what we can do is let's flesh this in. So we go ahead and hit, since this is 1, we'll hit the X over here. That loads that, so I don't have to type it. And we're going to go ahead and just load this dimension just to be easy. And we'll go ahead and hit. So since we're making a 090 kind of extrusion, if you're looking at it from the top, it's going to be 090 the length and then 090. So I'll hit top and bottom. So that gives me that. So, and then what we're going to do is we need to shrink it the proper amount to be able to slide in there. And so knowing what I know from what I do, we know that that's a 0.01 on both sides. So I'm just going to hit these buttons right here. And it's going to shrink that. And then I can go ahead and move these by 0.01 and just be done with it. So I'll hit that and I'll hit that. And we're good to go. Now I'm going to make those, yeah, we already made those purple. We like purple for that. So that way it keeps the color coding. So hit purple for that. We're going to group that. And then I'm going to go ahead and just go to the left, and then I'm going to move it 0.1, just like that. So that gives us our 0.0 or our 0.01 clearance we like around everything when we go to rivet everything together. And I'm going to go ahead and move this to reflect that because I haven't moved that yet. So I go over here, I have 0.01 all set up because I keep my nudges. My nudges are in amber, you know. They'll be digging up my nudges in amber, you know, a million years from now because I don't change them. I have 1 inch for nudge and I have micro nudge is 16th inch. And any other stuff that I need to do, I just have this move thing set up real quickly. Instead of going in and changing my nudge or going up here and typing it in like an animal, it's easier just to, you know, I have the hot buttons here. So, all right, so we have that set up. We have that set up. So what I'll do is I'll make a top and a bottom one. So I'll come back to my inserts maker. And I'm going to put my through hole for the 1/4 inch riv nut, and it's marked right here down at the bottom. You can see it's already named 1/4 inch riv nut, and it's 0.41, which is what the manufacturer kind of suggests. And we'll put it in the center there. And then just to make sure, because we're paranoid, we want to make sure that they line up. So I like that guideline. That's all lined up there. I like that. All right, so that's the top, and then what I'm going to do is just come down here, and I'm just going to make a bottom one since now we have an asymmetrical part, so it's not duplicated the same. So I'll just stretch this, and we'll just go to node, snap to, baby, and we'll just line those up. So that's the bottom one, that's the top one. So those parts are basically made because now you have the side piece and you have the top piece. You're ready to send that to the router. So now that we have the wall piece, let's talk about the middle, the board part. So the board piece will be basically this size, but I might shrink it just a tiny bit more so it's easier to slide in on the wall. So what we want to do is we can just go ahead and go to node here, and we'll go to here. And we can just drag that to that. That'll be the inside. Let's go ahead and name that, or what we'll do is we'll shrink it, convert it to curves, and let's shrink it. Let's do 0.01 on both sides, which matches that. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and go 0.05 on both sides and give it a little bit more. I don't want to make it too floppy. I want to have a nice sealed slide-in feel, kind of like when you're opening an Apple iPhone box and it takes 4 minutes to open because it's so tight. I like it. So you're going to go ahead and put that right there. And I like that right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it a rectangle. It's going to convert it to curves. And we're going to go ahead and use red for the part that mounts to the board. So now that I have this, this weird size, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and hit X and Y, and I'm ready to make, actually no, let's do extrusion machine here. That's what we want to do. So we want to do X and Y and X. There we go. And we'll hit that with a 270, we'll hit that with the red, and that's going to just tuck right in there, and that's going to be our homie. All right. And so now what we're going to do is just duplicate what we did to this one. And what we'll do there is, let's see. So we're going to use rivets on this one to make it fast and easy. But on this guy, we're not really going to be able to use rivets per se. We might have to end up, unless we clearance for rivets. I don't know if I'm digging that though. Otherwise, we might have to end up tacking this side in. And they could tack the other side in. We could tack these in too. Either way. If I clearance this for rivets, will that work? Because your rivets are 0.05. The rivets are 0.05. So do I want to just use the rivets to hold it in place, or do I want it to actually sit up against there? Let's just keep going what we got here. Just start fleshing it in. All right, so we know that we're going to go to here. So let's go ahead and go Y, and we'll go X, and we'll make a box there. Actually, you know what? Let's do the left and right on that. I don't need you guys. Thanks. You don't spark joy. Left and right. Let's go ahead and hit that up, red. And then what we're going to do, let's see what we want to do. We'll go ahead here, and then we'll take the red guy there and we'll shrink him up. So we're going to shrink him up the 0.1, which is the 09 plus the 01. That's what we want. There's our clearance, 0.01. All right. And then the idea is to have this clear this. So what I'm going to do now is just, you know what, I'm just going to bring that red to this point right there. There we go. And then this guy here is going to be short, and it's going to actually sit on top of that. And then it's actually going to sit on top of the rivnet. Oops. All right. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of room. No, we'll leave that. We need maximum because we only have, that's only 0.4. So we want to have maximum strength there. So now what I'm going to do is add a little gusset thing that comes out, and it's going to rest right on the rivnet. So we're just going to take that and weld it. So I have a weld button right here, so it's just real quick. So I don't have to go up here and do Control, Alt, Delete, whatever the heck else goes on. And then what we're going to do is, let's see, what do we want to do? Do we want to just leave that like that, or do we want to bring it down? Make it like that. Why not? Bring it to the front. And then I'm going to do the kind of the same thing we did here, where I'm just going to bring a piece that is that size. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink it 0.01. And then I'm going to use that to create my top and bottom, left, right. So I'm going to go X, Y, top and bottom, and that creates that. And then I think we're going to make that green. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and do this like that. And we'll do what we do to the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Something like that. Yeah, like that. And then do our inline for referencing to make sure we move it when it's time to move it. And then we kind of do the same thing down here. Ooh, look at that. Lines right up. Blink. And then we will go ahead and do our add-on addition thingamajigger here. Go ahead and weld that and bring it to the front, and then we'll give this some room as well. Make it look stylish. Also gives it a little bit of support. Let's move that up another inch. There we go. Guess there really isn't any reason why this can't go all the way up for strength. There you go. So all it really needs to do is clear this, and then once you get clear of that, you're back to having that. So you can keep this whole thing nice and sturdy. Alrighty. So the other thing now to do is to create this piece in this view so I can have that. So I go ahead and hit that like that. And just go ahead and do it by hand here and then shrink it. Doink. And then I'm going to shrink it 0.01 on both sides. Click. And I'm going to shrink it on this side. Click. There you go. And then I'm going to duplicate this because I need it top and bottom again. So I go X, Y, and then I do top and bottom, and I make it green to match what we're doing. And then I'll just use that. Let's go ahead and group it so it's easy. Group it. Hans Gruber. Oops, wrong one. There we go. And we'll send that to the bottom so we can get rid of this guy. Thank you for your service. You no longer spark joy. And there we go. And so then what I'll do is, should we make a roval or should we just make, so this is a 1/4 inch bolt that's going to be going through the riv nut. So hit the slot machines, let's play some slots. Do we do a slot? Maybe just the slightest slot, so that way there's just a little bit of wiggle room. They could always use silicone to sort of hold these on to make sure they don't move. So let's say we were to do a 0.28, actually let's do a 0.3 slot. So that gives me a slotted, let's make that see-through so you can see what's going on. But that's a lot of play. I don't like that. So what if we just tighten it up? We'll just switch to nodes here. And that way it'll have just the tiny bit of oval, just enough. If they have to, they can get their drill out and fix it. All right, I like that. So that's this piece and not this piece. So this guy's all set to go there. That's this piece here all made. Let's see, this guy here, we're just going to duplicate it and kind of do what we just did. So we have this piece, but we'll just bring it down and make it quick. And so what we'll do is, oh yeah, we can just leave it. Actually, we can just transpose this. Yeah, we can just transpose this onto this. Don't need you anymore. Oops. And we'll just nail that to that. Yep, I like it. So these two pieces are the same for top and bottom. That's kind of good. No, they're not. No, because the holes are in different spots. That's right. Yep. Yeah, that's forward. So you got to make sure we have a top and a bottom. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this just a tiny bit of breathing room here. Oops, do we want full 16th? No, let's just give it, so right here, this will move nodes as well. So, I mean over here, I'm sorry. So let's do a 0.02. I'm selecting 0.02 over here, and that's just going to move those two nodes over 0.02. That should be enough. And then our router bit's going to radius this. So I'm going to go ahead and take this slot machine here, the little trick we do. I'm going to do 0.26 because the biggest bit we usually use is a 1/4 inch. So even if he's using a 1/4 inch, the router guy, he'll be safe. So what I'll do is I'll just turn this 45. So I got my 45 here, and I'll go into this corner here, and I'll just move it up a 01 and an 01. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this a full filled color so it's easy to see. And then I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to hit this button, trim. Takes care of it. I'm going to delete that. So now I have my trimmed out corner. So that way the router bit will clear that out, and it won't conflict with that. And Otherwise, I think that's pretty good. I like that. Do we want that to bottom out against that? I think we do, right? Is that what we want? We want the green to bottom out against that? All right, I don't need that green anymore. All right. So I think that's a pretty good strategy there, a pretty good idea for how we're going to do it. So we're going to need to add some bolts, some bolt holes. So mounting hardware wise, these guys will probably want 1/4 inch on the wall. So we kind of get these where they, they get in where they fit in. So I'm going to go ahead and select these two. And I have this one where this is edgy. So with Corel, if you hit the top button, it just puts the tops of the two even. I don't like that because most of the time I want the center of this to be at the top of this. So I had to write code. So if you hit the T over here on edgy, that actually puts the center of this to the top. So now we're at 0 center because everything's on center. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down 1 inch. And that brings us into this pocket area where, this will be clearance. There's plenty of room in here, this little pocket area. So that'll be a good spot to put, whatever lags or whatever they're using, or the togglers. And then same thing down here. This is only a 1/2 inch, so we might actually want to go up a couple inches, maybe do 1.5 inches. So I want to move it back down 1/2. There we go. So we're close to this, but I don't want to be that close to that edge. And so if we hit this, it'll tell us our on center from each other. So right now I'm at 21.5 between these two, which is a little too much. So I'm just going to put one more. That should keep it happy. So we'll hit this right here. I got vertical centers right there, VC, done. And so that's a good, I think it's a good mounting system for that. If they're using togglers, they shouldn't go anywhere. You put too many, you're going to perforate the wall, and it's just going to come right out. So, and then for the surfboard, they're probably going to use wood screws. So maybe we'll do a 3/16 hole. They can always open it up. You can make the hole smaller or bigger. You can't make them smaller, not without some welding. So we can let's go ahead and bring that down 1 inch. And this is kind of a whole different deal. So we'll bring this down. We'll line that up to the bottom like we like to do. Yeah, since he's starting there. And let's put that up 1 inch. And then what we're going to do is we don't want to make these in a straight line because then it's going to be kind of wobbly. So once we're good to go on this, we'll move these to the left and the right, kind of stagger them. There we go. So now you have the side view, everything's built. You got the top view of everything. That's all you need for that. So now we can start laying out the parts and get them to route. Go ahead and save it. It's always fun when it crashes, and then you're just crying. Shrink that. All right, so let's make the red piece first here, just for funs. There's no real particular order. So we can get rid of everything we don't need. We don't need that. We don't need that. Expose yourself in a clean way. Expose yourself. Tell us what you are. There you go. So there's the red part. And then what we do is we peel this over here, turn this 270, and now that's the top. This is the width of that part. See, right there. So we get that in line, and then we can go ahead and get rid of everything we don't need for that. So we don't need blue. We don't need purple. But we do like green. We don't need green for this per se, but it's part of this. So that's the top. And then the bottom will do the same thing. We'll give that a 90 turn, and we will bring that right into that node there, like that. And we don't need that. All right, so that's the bottom one. And that's the top one. So we've got our width. So I'll grab the X on that. That's 2.29, and I'll grab the height on this, and I'll hit that, and that's your main piece right there. I'll hit that for red, and we'll just go ahead and line that up to right and top, just like that. And then what we're going to do is duplicate this guy. I like to just throw a quick group on it. group on, do a flip, and then do a right side align, and there's our part. Like it. Then what we do is just ungroup everything, and we'll just go ahead and leave it for now. So that's that part. We'll flesh it all in a sec. And then I like to duplicate this, and we'll just line that up. There's our holes. But again, we don't want to do them in a row like that. Might even be room to do two aside, where we go. Let's see, move. Should we do like a half-inch move there? Do a half-inch wood, because it is a 2-inch wide spine. Yeah, that might work. We'll see. Anyway, we'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We'll go this direction. So we'll get rid of everything that doesn't apply, which is that, don't need red. There we go. So we'll go ahead and do this guy here. Give this a 270 turn. Line him up. Hey, talking to you. No. Oh my gosh. Come on now. All right. So there's that. And then we want that one. We're going to turn this one 90. Boop. And click it in like that. Playing with Legos. So there's my X. Come on. Which is 2.5. There's my Y. Which is that. There's my. And I'll go to the left and centered. That's a blue. See, and I'm keeping everything in line too, so that way I can reference all the way across. So my side profile matches the top of that, and this guy stays in that profile there. So it all just, so I can double check, discount double check all of it. Flipperooski, and, oh, grab the wrong one. Come on, let's go down here. Node, and node. All right, I like it. So save. And then this guy, we'll go ahead and make them in a line. It's good enough. When they torque it down, it'll be fine. It's only 2 inches wide. It's not going to wobble back and forth too much. All right. So now what we do is start fleshing it in. So we need to make this one solid piece. But I like to leave all of this stuff for reference. Oh, you know what we need to do is, let's go ahead and ungroup all of this. And what I'm going to do is duplicate that. And I'm going to make these as inlines because I need to have reference, because like I said, when you clamp and bend, the part that gets clamped grows by a 1/16 the way we do things. So I need to make sure that I have a reference mark that shows that this did indeed move. So that way I can make sure that everything lines up. Otherwise everything's off by a 1/16 and it makes you sad. All right. So there's that. So now what we're going to do is make this a solid piece. So I'll select the whole thing, and down here I have make TS, which is a through shape, make through shape. So what it does is it just takes the overall dimension and just creates a rectangle that is already filled, and it's named called through shape, and it sends it to the back of the layer. So now all those pieces, that's our piece right there. Good to go. So same thing here. So I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to go ahead and ungroup everything. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a through shape of, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. I don't need that guideline. I'm going to make a through shape of this size. And then I'm going to take this guy, duplicate it. I'm going to take this one and duplicate it. And then I'm going to, because of this weird shape here, that way, and then I'm just going to weld that to that. And then I'm going to send it to the top of the layer to make sure it's welded properly and it's not, disjointed. Send it to the back of the layer. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that, and now I'm going to hit weld. I'm going to send that to the top of the layer, send that to the back layer, tobacco layer. Say what? All right, so we're good to go there. And then what I'm going to need to do is make those same little inline pieces for this to make sure things have moved. But I'm just going to keep these local to here. So I'm just going to kind of bring it to there. I don't need to make it all the way down because I think they're actually in different spots. So anyway. And I'm just going to take it to the center there. And then I can just go ahead and duplicate these. Let's flip it. Smack it, flip it, rub it down. Don't need that either. There we go. Good enough. All right. And then same thing here. Let's just take a rec. Duplicate, flip, and bonk. All right, save it, save it. All right, so now what we want to do is we can go ahead and shift everything and get it ready for, get it super ready for export. Let's make these pieces first. Let's get everything done and then we'll go through and do all that. So kind of the same drill. You've got this guy here is the side view of this piece, so everything in green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this 90, and then I'm going to get rid of this piece, right? And then I can get rid of these two pieces here, ungroup. And then just take this guy and Lego him together like that. Oh, why are we? Let's see. Did I not build in the 09 in that? Curious. Oh, I have that bonking against, that's why. That's why. Yeah, no. Is that what we wanted to do? I forget. Didn't we bring that back? Oh, we brought that back. Yeah, we're okay with bonking, I think. So, what do we want to do here? I think we're good with, let's bring that back. So let's go ahead and shrink that back. Let's shrink that by 0.01. See, so much fun. Yeah, that way that matches up. That's what we want. So we'll get rid of that. And we'll give this a 90. There we are. And then let's see. What that does though is that gives us, that makes that these are off by 0.05. No, these guys are still on center. Are they still on center? No, they aren't. Right. So we got to shift these cats. We're going to move these dudes 0.0005 over. Point. There we go. So now we're centered. That's what we want. But we got to remember to do that with these guys. So these guys need to move over. Yeah, there we go. And then just need to shrink these by, there we go. Just a little coarse adjustment. Adjust your fire. There we go. So we can get rid of that. And now this is the official one here. And we need to shrink that by 0.01. And just to double check. let's see, to each other. They're still 3/4 inch from each other, and they are still 0.375, 3/8 away from each other from the center of that piece, so we're good to go. So turn 90, click that, flip it, boom. Okay, so there's that piece. That piece is ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and maybe put a reference kiss arrow, so that way they know to wall. And I'm going to make a tiny little W. We're going to use a engraver bit. Actually, red outline. There we go. And since this is at 1.5 inches, I'm going to hit over here. I'm going to hit a 1 inch. And we'll put that. That'll kind of let them know that the wall goes that way. Because if they put it backwards, it won't fit. All right. So there's that, save that, and we can make this piece into one piece. So hit that, hit throughs and shapes, now that's a piece. So we got to fix this down here because, yeah, we need to adjust fire on this guy. So this guy is the same size as this, just shortened up, right? Right, so we can just bring him down. Come on now. Yeah, that'll work. Shrink and shrink. And then let's go ahead and just use this for reference. So let's get rid of this. And then we can bring this in for reference, and that clicks right there. Yep, and then that's duplicated, so we can just get rid of that. And then that's fixed. So now we're good to go. So now we can bring this over to here. Flip it 90, and that should match up this guy. Oops, need to have room, can't breathe. Alrighty, so that's 0.13 and 0.13, yep. Bonk. Ungroup that, don't need those bars, I'm gonna get it confusing. And then we go over here, flip this, look at that. Okay, so there's that piece. Keep it in line. And wall will be this way. So we'll go ahead and do a quick arrow like that. And we'll hit a engraver bit, font, wall that way. Let's just go ahead and turn it that way. There we go. So that faces out. So they'll flip that around. They can weld that in. And then they can rivet or weld. They could probably just weld this side too. I guess it's not that big a deal. If they weld it, probably be quicker. Clico it and weld it. It's an awful cop show. Clico and weld it. Let's see. So we can do that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll just hit these up with the double mint. There you go. All right, so there's that piece, that piece. So let's make these little nuggets, little mini nuggets up here. So I think this guy's centered in here, right? How far is it? Yep, so everything's centered there. So all I need to do is take this guy over here, take one of these, turn it to 70, and we're good to go. Now I don't need the mock-up anymore. Thank you for your service. No longer spark joy. Alrighty. And again, make through shapes. Boink. Good to go. And same thing here. This guy is just a little bit bigger, so I'll take him over here, strip him down for what we don't need. Get rid of that, get rid of that, and then we'll double check that this is centered. I think this should be centered. Yep, clear it off, double check. Yep. So then same thing, put this up here, give this a 90, line that up. Don't need you, thank you, don't need you, go and get. There we go. So that's the top piece, and that's the bottom piece. And those guys are ready to go. So now all we need to do, since we have these pieces, we just need to get them ready. So we need to put bend scribes. So we'll start right here. We'll come over here to the magic machine, click that button, pops it open. Here's our bend scribes. And so we just need bend scribes on the inside here. So I hit this arrow and hit this arrow. There's our bend scribes. So this tells the router to put a nice little, what do you call it, a brooch right there. They kind of just make like a reference kiss, we call it. And then since this is going to grow a 16th, this is why we put these inlines here. See what I do is I grab this, hit my micro nudge, 16th, done. This is why they will find my nudges in amber, because I do not want this to move. I just hit that, boom, 16th, I know I'm good. That way when I'm auditing this, when I go to send this piece, I can see that yes, these moved. But I don't want, also this is going to grow a 16th. So now I need to shrink this a 16th on both sides. There we go. So now I know that the final piece, once it's clamped and bent, is going to grow back to this size. If I leave it, it won't fit. So, and actually, it probably wouldn't make a big difference if I left it, but I'm just going to be neat and tidy on this one. But this has room to grow, so I probably wouldn't even need to worry about it there. This one I want it to fit perfectly, just nice right there. Otherwise, this will stick down to 16th, and it'll look like, you know, just savages. They'll just be like, who made this? I'm going to move that a 16th, I'm going to move that a 16th, and I'm just going to shrink this a 16th, and that piece is ready. What I like to do is I'll hit my G2G over here, down on the bottom on my corner kick, and what that does is it gives me a little green dot. If I like it, I'm done. So I hit a green dot, those are good to go. So that way I can step back and sort of do a quick audit, see where everything's at. I'm going to get a little bit of room there. All right, so same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit my bend scribes left, right. And I'm going to make sure that these all move the appropriate distance. No, I don't have inlines there. But because I'm going so fast, I'm not gonna bother making inlines there because I just witnessed it, so I'm good to go. And then I'm going to shrink this because this definitely needs to stay because this will grow a 16th and then we'll be kind of pooching out. So I'm definitely going to bring this in a 16th on both sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a scribe arrow right in the center of this. And that's going to be up. Hopefully they know that an arrow means up. And so this piece has this. These guys are moved. These guys are moved. I saw that. I can leave all this. All this is going to get cleaned out later. I don't need to clean all this out. I can leave it where it's at. And so I'm going to go ahead and just call that good. That's good to go. And so this little guy here, bend scribes left, right, and moved. I saw it move, and I'm going to take it down to 16th. Again, probably don't have to because it's just going to go up, but that way it's going to meet up nice there, and we'll get the maximum style points from Peter Gunn. And we're going to go ahead and go down here. Oh, didn't finish this guy, so make through shape, just that easy. Two bend scribes, shrink, move, oops, and move. All right. Let's see. These guys are the hook, so we get rid of that. We get rid of that, and we're going to go ahead and make that purple. So that's that. All right. So these little guys are good. Let's give them a good to go stamp. And last one. So move these to 16th, move these to 16th. While we're here, let's just give our bend scribes left, right, boom, boom, just like that. And these guys, oops, 16th, 16th. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move everything. Now everything's going to shift over. It's going to grow a 16th if I leave it. So what I need to do, and this is why you leave the outer ring for reference. So I'm just going to grab these nodes, and everything has to shift a 16th, which it just did. And I'm going to grab all these nodes, 16th. So that way I can reference where it originally was, and I know that I'm good. So all this will go back. Once we bend it, it's going to go right back to where that line was, and we're golden. We just got to make sure that, oops, that this also gets transformed as well. All right, save it, save it. Good to go. I like this piece. I think we're good. Good to go, just like that. So I think that's a good solution. I think that's it. I'm just ready to export. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of icons on here, so that way homies know what's up. Might even make a little video how this will go at some point, but I'll spare you that. So what you're going to do is weld this in. We'll give this a 315 turn. So we'll weld this piece in. Weld that. Let's give that a 45-45. Look, it's synchronized. And then you're going to weld that in. And then I guess they could weld this. I was thinking on the outside one here, they could just rivet it, probably be stronger, because there's not much to weld to. So I was thinking maybe on this side they could rivet these guys. Yeah, so that's it. So that should be a pretty good deal there. Yeah, so all I got to do now is put this onto the various pages, but I've already done a video on that, so you could look that one up. But otherwise, I think we're good to go. I think that's it. Thanks for watching.